This is the Sakar Murli of 25th of December 2024. Essence. Sweet children, to follow Srimat at every step is to have the highest chart. The children who pay regard to Srimat will definitely study the Murlis. Question. Which question can no one ask God's children? Answer. No one can ask you children, are you happy and content? Because you say that you are constantly content. You were concerned about finding the Father who lives in the land beyond, in Brahmand. Now that you have found him, why should you be worried about anything? Even though you may be unwell, you still say that you are happy and content. God's children are not concerned about anything. When the Father sees that someone is being attacked by Maya, he asks, "Child, are you happy and content?" Om Shanti. The Father explains, it is in the intellects of you children that Baba is the Father, the Teacher, and the Supreme Guru. You must surely be having this remembrance. No one else can teach you this remembrance. The Father alone comes every cycle and teaches you this. He is the ocean of knowledge, the purifier. Now that each of you has received a third eye of knowledge, a divine intellect, this can be explained to you. Even though you children understand this knowledge, you forget the Father, and so how could you remember the Teacher and the Guru? Maya is so powerful that she makes you forget all three forms of the Father. You then say, I have been defeated. In fact, you earn multi-millions at every step. But how could you accumulate any of it if you are defeated? Deities are portrayed holding a lotus. This study is taught by God. Such a study could never come from a human being. Although the deities are praised, the highest of all is the One Father. So, what greatness do they have? Today they have a donkey ship, and tomorrow they will have the kingdom. You are now making effort to become those. You know that many fail in making this effort. This knowledge is very easy, and yet so few of you pass. Why? Because Maya repeatedly makes you forget. The Father tells you to keep a chart of your remembrance, but you are unable to write it. To what extent do you sit and write it? When you do write it, it is sometimes up and sometimes down. Those who follow Srimat at every step have the highest charts. The Father knows that perhaps these poor ones feel ashamed. Otherwise, Srimat would be put into practice. Hardly 1 or 2% write anything. Because they don't have much regard for Srimat, even when they receive a Murli, they don't read it. It would definitely touch their hearts that Baba is telling the truth when he says that they are not reading the Murli. In that case, what can they teach others? The Father says, remember me and you will become the masters of heaven. Both the teacher and the bestower of salvation are included with the Father in this. The whole of this knowledge is included within these few words. You come here to revise them. Even though the Father explains the same things, you yourselves say that you forget, and this is why you come here to revise them. Even though some of you do this, you are unable to revise them properly. If it is not in someone's fortune, what effort would he make? The One Father inspires all of you to make this effort. No one can be shown any favoritism in this. In other studies, a teacher is called to give extra tuition. This one teaches everyone identically in order for you all to make your own fortune. To what extent would he sit and teach each one of you individually? There are so many children here. In other studies, wealthy people would offer something to the teacher to give their children extra tuition. A teacher knows when someone is dull, and so he would teach him more to make him worthy of winning a scholarship. This teacher does not do this. This one teaches everyone the same. When a teacher makes extra effort on a pupil, it means that he is showing some mercy. Some accept money to spend extra time on a student and make him study more to become clever. This Father gives everyone the same great mantra, man, man above. That's all. The Father alone is the purifier, and it is only by having remembrance of Him that you will become pure. It is in the hands of you children. The more you remember Him, the purer you will become. Everything depends on the effort that each one of you makes. People go on pilgrimages. Some go there on seeing others go. You children have been on many pilgrimages. What was the result of that? You continued to come down. What were those pilgrimages for? What will you gain from them? You didn't know anything. This is now your pilgrimage of remembrance. There is just this one word, man, man above. This pilgrimage of yours is eternal. People say that they have been going on pilgrimages from time immemorial. You now have this knowledge, so you say that you have this pilgrimage every cycle. The Father Himself comes and teaches you this pilgrimage. People stumble along so much on those pilgrimages and make so much noise. This pilgrimage is of dead silence. You just have to remember the One Father. This is how you become pure. The Father has taught you this true spiritual pilgrimage. You have been going on those pilgrimages for birth after birth. Nevertheless, you continued to sing, "We have searched for God everywhere, and yet we still remain distant from Him." When they return from a pilgrimage, they indulge in vice, and so what benefit was there? You children know that this is now the most auspicious confluence age, when the Father comes. One day everyone will know that the Father has come. How would anyone eventually find God? No one knows this. Some think that God is in cats and dogs. Would you find God in them? There is so much falsehood. Their food is false, wrong. Their drink is false, and they spend their nights in falsehood. Therefore this is a land of falsehood. Only heaven is called the land of truth. Bharat was heaven. Everyone in heaven was a resident of Bharat, and those same residents are today in hell. You sweet children know that you are now taking Srimat from the Father and making Bharat into heaven once again. At that time, no one else exists in Bharat. The whole world becomes pure. At present there are so many religions. The Father gives you this knowledge of the whole tree. He reminds you once again that you were deities and that you then became merchants and then Shudras. You have now become Brahmins. Did you ever hear these words from sannyasis or from scholars or pundits? The Father explains the meaning of hum so, so hum in such an easy way. Hum so means I, this soul, go around the cycle in this way. Those people say, I, the soul, am the Supreme Soul, and the Supreme Soul is myself, the soul. Not a single person knows the real meaning of hum so. The Father says, you should constantly keep the mantra hum so in your intellects. Otherwise, how could you become rulers of the globe? Those people don't even understand the meaning of the cycle of 84 births. The rise and fall of Bharat has been remembered. You go through the stages of Satopradhan, Sato, Rajo and Tamo, the Sun Dynasty, the Moon Dynasty, etc. You children now know everything about this. Only the one Father, the seed, is called the ocean of knowledge. He doesn't enter the world cycle. It is not that we souls become the Supreme Soul, no. The Father makes us as knowledgeful as He is. He does not make us into God like He is. You have to understand these things very clearly, because only then can you rotate the cycle in your intellects. You can use your intellects to understand how you go around the cycle of 84 births. The time, the castes and the dynasties are all included in this. You become the most elevated ones of all through this knowledge. When you have knowledge, you can give it to others. At the time of taking examinations in those schools, you are given test papers which come from abroad. There must be a senior education minister who checks everything, even for those who are studying abroad. Who would check your papers here? You have to do this for yourself. You can become whatever you want. By studying this study, you can claim whatever status you want from the Father. The more you remember the Father and serve others, the more fruit you will receive. Because your kingdom is being established, you know that subjects are also needed, and so you are concerned about doing service. There is no need for any advisors, etc. there. It is here, where they have less wisdom, that they need advisors. Many come here to the Father to seek advice. They ask, Baba, what should I do with the money I have? What business should I do? The Father says, do not bring your worldly business matters, etc. here. Yes, if someone feels hopeless or disheartened, Baba would give him some advice to reassure him. However, that is not my business. My business is to make you pure from impure and to make you into the masters of the world. You constantly have to continue to take Srimat from the Father. At present, everyone gives devilish directions. There it is a land of happiness. You would never be asked there, are you happy and content? Is your health okay? These things are only asked here. These expressions do not exist there. There are no expressions of this land of sorrow there. However, the Father knows that when Maya interferes with some children, he can ask, "Are you okay? Are you happy and content?" Other human beings don't understand the expressions we use here. When people ask you how you are, you can tell them that you are the children of God, and so there is no need for them to ask about your welfare. We were concerned about finding the Father who lives in that land beyond, in the Brahm element. Now that we have found him, why should we worry about anything else? You should constantly remember whose children you are. You have this knowledge in your intellects. When you become pure, the war will begin. When they ask you how you are, you can say that you are constantly happy and content. Even when you are ill, you are still content. When you remain in remembrance of Baba, you are even more content here than you are in heaven, because you have found the Father who gives you the kingdom of heaven. He makes us so worthy. So why should we worry about anything? What would the children of God be worried about? The deities are not worried about anything there. God is higher than the deities. So what would the children of God be worried about? Baba is teaching us. Baba is our teacher and Satguru. Baba places a crown on us. A child who is to wear his father's crown would be called in English a crown prince. You can understand that in the golden age there is nothing but happiness. You will attain that happiness in a practical way when you go there. Only you know what exists in the golden age and where you will go when you leave your present bodies. The Father is now teaching you in a practical way. You know that you truly do go to heaven. When those people say that so-and-so has gone to heaven, they neither know what heaven is nor what hell is. It has been written that the duration of each cycle is hundreds of thousands of years. Whilst you have been listening to that knowledge for many births, you have continued to come down. Your intellects now know where you were and where you have fallen to. You have continued to come down from the golden age and have now reached the most auspicious confluence age. The Father comes every cycle to teach you. You stay with the Father, do you not? That one is our true Satguru, who shows us the path to liberation and liberation in life. Just as this Baba studies, so you children should observe him and study in the same way. You should be cautious at every step. Your thoughts, words and deeds have to be very pure. Let there be no type of dirt or rubbish inside you. You children repeatedly forget the Father. When you forget the Father, you also forget his teachings. You even forget that you are students. This study is very easy. There is magic in having remembrance of the Father. No other Father can teach you how to perform such magic. It is through this magic that you become Sato Pradhan from Tamo Pradhan. You children know that Shiv Baba established the original, eternal deity religion through Brahma, and that it lasted through the golden and silver ages for half of this cycle. Then later, those of the other religions expanded. For instance, when Christ came, there were very few at first. Only when there are many of them can they rule. The Christian religion continues even now. It continues to grow. They know that they have become Christians through Christ. Christ came 2,000 years ago, and expansion is taking place now. Christians would say that they belong to Christ. First, Christ alone comes, and then his religion is established, and it then expands. From one there are two, from two there are four, and expansion continues to take place in that way. Look how big the Christian tree has become. The foundation is the deity dynasty. This is why Brahma is called the great-great-grandfather. However, the people of Bharat have forgotten that they are the direct children of the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, Shiva. Some Christians understand that Adidev existed in the past, and that this is his human dynasty, but they would still believe in their Christ. People consider Christ or Buddha, etc., to be their father. There is the genealogical tree. Just as there are memorials of Christ in Christian countries, in the same way, you children did tapasya here, and this is why there is your memorial here in Abu. Acha. To the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance and good morning from the mother, the father, Bapdada. The spiritual father says Namaste to the spiritual children. Essence for Dharana 1. Go on this true spiritual pilgrimage of dead silence. Constantly remember the mantra of Hum So, because only then will you become the rulers of the globe. 2. Your thoughts, words and deeds have to be very pure. Let there be no dirt or rubbish inside you. Be cautious at every step and pay regard to Srimat. Blessing. May you imbibe the virtue of humility and give happiness to everyone, as a bestower of happiness and an embodiment of happiness. The sign that you souls are great is your humility. To the extent that you are humble, so you will accordingly be respected by everyone. Those who are humble give happiness to everyone. Wherever you go and whatever you do, you would give happiness. Whoever comes into contact or has a relationship with you, they should experience happiness. This is why the praise of you Brahmin souls is, you are embodiments of happiness, bestowers of happiness, children of the ocean of happiness. So continue to give everyone happiness and take happiness from everyone. If anyone tries to cause you sorrow, do not take it. Slogan. The most enlightened souls are those who remain soul-conscious. Om Shanti. They neither know